It's been a minute since I've done a YouTube video. I am a recovering messy creative, and for about 7 years and some, I've been trying to work with my energy to create, but also to publish. So I've been on a self-publishing journey for 7+ years, on and off, not consistently. And I've published 3 books throughout that period. Only one is on the market because of mistakes that I've made, and also just not feeling like my books were up to the standard that I wanted them to be at. So I know for a fact that I'm going to re-edit and repackage, especially when the path is more constructed. Right now, I'm still in that building phase. And for this video specifically, I wanted to share how self-publishing is really a physical manifestation, materialization of the work that needs to be done internally. So here are things that people don't know about self-publishing. My name is Chiamaka Nicely. If you haven't met me already, this channel has been stagnant, so I wouldn't be mad at you if you haven't checked out my videos or anything, and this is the first one that you're seeing. I've been publishing underneath my business, Nicely Publishing, for already 7+ years, and my first novel was The Masterpiece, which I then rebranded last year to Whispers of the Six. And I started out self-publishing because I wanted to control my narrative, to build something like a legacy, generational wealth. But ultimately, it was just that I was impatient and I didn't want to wait on nobody. So I was just like, I've been writing online for a bit now. I didn't really take it that seriously, nor did I really go ham on getting constructive criticism and stuff like that. So I just saw self-publishing as the next step to getting myself out there, actually putting in the work to now produce a physical copy of my work. And so that journey within itself taught me to slow down. I was gathering a lot of information online and I thought I knew what to do with that information. But for me, I didn't know how to thoroughly just create a roadmap, create a sense of direction, and not be jumping from how to market to how to format my book, the right people to trust on Fiverr to edit, which was crazy. Format, do cover design. Cover design was calm for me because I spent money with an American company, so they produced something of great quality. My failure was with editing and me learning how to self-edit, along with trusting certain Fiverr freelancers with editing my book. But then because I didn't know that there's different stages to editing, I just went straight in for proofreading rather than developmental or copy editing and going through that whole process. And because of that experience, I decided to create the Indie Author's Blueprint, which is a roadmap to assist new writers or those that have already been on the journey with planning from start to finish. So the start would be your characters, the story, the conflict, and how that would be shaped within the story, along with what would be appealing to the reader. So knowing your reader's avatar, so then you know how to market to them. So it's best to know all these things before you even start writing. That way it's easier to know how to proceed when your book is actually out there, or even just when you're marketing throughout the different stages. So writing the first draft, editing, formatting, doing the cover design, and then actually launching, having a launch sequence to get your readers on your mailing list, do events, and so on and so forth. So that's why I created that. I feel like this video might be a little bit too scattered, and that's exactly why I'm still a recovering messy creative. I might be jumping, but when I'm in flow, it's just that's it. But my mind doesn't register that, we need to have a bit more of a structure. But I hope you're following me. So you spoke on how I started and having all this information. I even attended conferences, so it's not like I wasn't able to apply it. It's just I was caught in a loop of making mistakes, wanting to eradicate those mistakes and be perfect. But I guess all of that was necessary because it's teaching me in the moment that I have these character flaws, which is why I've said that self-publishing is a manifestation of who you are. And once you have that mirror, you can better know how to maneuver as you go along through the more books that you publish, the more readers that you connect with, the community that you build. So for me, I learned early on that I needed more structure. I needed a clearer understanding of why I was doing all of this. Like, of course, I knew I wanted to build something, to have a legacy and to control my own narrative, but I just couldn't seem to like solidify everything. And that might have been due to the fact that my Mercury is in Pisces, so my mind was just very watery, murky. And in a way, I just needed to continue growing as an adult through my job, through socializing, and even just understanding who I am even more. Another thing for me is beyond like absorbing all that information online, researching, it's not spoken of enough, the journey of becoming, and that although you might love writing and creating stories to escape into, whether this be like fantasy or science fiction, once you take on that role of becoming the author, you're basically subscribing to become the character that has to now go through all these transformations. If you aren't like self-aware or willing to do the hard work, then it will be more easier for you to abandon ship. Or say it for me, I just wanted it to be a creative output type of thing. I just wanted this to be something that I love to do as a side hobby, but not something that I would need to drive forward in like the marketplace. Because once you're the author that self-publishes, you are essentially the creative mind and also the marketing mind, the business person. It's no longer just a book. You have to learn how to find your readers, get it in front of your readers, connect with people for like media purposes, or even just to find a sense of community and all these things. And I didn't know that's a journey that I would be on when I first started out, because I just wanted a sense of freedom. I wanted to better be able to communicate myself, to express myself. And self-publishing always just seems like the easier route, because now you're not going through all that rejection with agents and submitting to, say, the top 5 publishers. And with self-publishing, what I've come to realize is, although you're doing everything yourself, it's still you against you. It's you battling the versions of you that try to say, nah, I can't do this. I can't show up on camera. This is hard. Or doing the things that you know you have to do, but something inside of you saying to avoid it because another idea is itching in the back of your mind saying, let's do this, let's write this book. But these times you have to follow through with what you've already started. And that's another part that I've had to come to understand about myself, is to follow through, to build up that discipline and not allow the lesser versions of myself to pull me backwards. This journey of becoming is so fascinating to me. But I give thanks to every version that I've had to be, because they are building blocks to who I am now, where I'm even able to show up on camera, because I've done many videos. Some haven't seen the light of day. Some have been uploaded very infrequently, so once every couple of months. And then now I'm really in that drive of consistency and saying, nah, I'm the operant power. Even if it's harder, I will still push forward. And it might take longer, but I wouldn't have it any other way. There's also the part of like resetting your nervous system and how you now move with anxiety or visibility. Because ultimately I chose the path of writing because I was afraid of my voice and the fact that I wouldn't be able to know how to communicate, let alone interact with people and be able to even speak how I am right now, where I have some kind of flow and coherence. And a large part of my self-publishing journey has been to show up more online, to show myself as the author on this journey. The books that I do have already made and coming, I don't see many Black authors on YouTube or even just online consistently as a whole showing how difficult self-publishing can be, especially when it's just you as a solopreneur and you're doing all these behind the scenes work that people can't see, but yet you know that you want to show it, but you're kind of afraid of how people will now perceive you. Not necessarily because of the behind the scenes work, but for me, for example, it would be that I am a messy creative. Ideas all over the place. On my laptop, I try to keep it contained, but sometimes it's on my laptop, it's on paper, it's on my tablet, it's on my phone. It's literally all over the place. And I sometimes prefer people to see me as more together. There's honestly so much to say about this, so this video might be in parts. When you're self-publishing, what they don't tell you about is how you might undervalue yourself. When I first started out, I saw a lot of blogs an author saying to discount your first book to like 99p or less just to like attract the reader or who you want to like now follow you on this journey. And that just felt very counterintuitive. It just felt very backwards because you've put in all this energy for this one book that's going to be your starter, and yet you now want us to devalue ourselves. Yet if you was to go through traditional publishing, they would put everything behind that book and make sure that it's marketed and it's in front of the audience that it needs to be with the right pricing and branding. Yet with self-publishing, it's like, oh, because you've chosen this alternative path where you're now fronting everything, to get people in the door, you have to cut down your price, try and make it seem less than, just because you now have this title of self-publishing. And I've had to learn, not even just with self-publishing, but just being the founder of my business, is to do self-work, some shadow work, to align myself with who I want to be, which is a person that feels like, no, my book is valued at this price, it has this worth, and regardless of many critics or how the market perceives it, given the story, this is what it is and this is how it should be taken. And of course people are gonna go against it. Like, for example, Whispers of the Six is priced higher than the Masterpiece. I actually priced that book at $13.99, whereas the Masterpiece was first priced at $19.99. And my reasons for that was because of how the story had developed, and this now being the portal to my African futurism shared universe that I'm developing. And even far beyond like the physical nature of this book, it's meant to be a transition for the reader to embark on this journey with Princess Calista and the other characters into discovering themselves and the world that they're a part of. So it's far deeper than just how the book actually looks, because obviously I updated the cover, I updated the writing, I added images inside, but I gave it a full new story packaging. Because sometimes, especially in the UK, it's like if you price something a bit higher than the so-called perceived value, then people are going to be immediately turned off. But what I've had to learn is that those just aren't your customers. And through self-publishing, I'm encountering such individuals that are saying, oh, your book is actually priced a bit too high, or they're just giving these looks and still like feeling how that feels internally and having to overcome such things, and then encountering other people that are like, oh, I want your book, and regardless of the price that you give them, they still want it. So that's what I mean when I say learning to value yourself more, and the book actually being a physical manifestation of your internal relationship with yourself. So yeah, I hope that resonates. So this is what I'm saying, like self-publishing really is where you become. Yeah, there's so much to say about this. So let me know in the comments what you think, whether you started your self-publishing journey or what you'd even like me to dive deeper into. Because this video really is just a prologue, I guess you could say. I intend to share more about my self-publishing journey and what I'm doing right now, since I'm building an African futurism shared universe, and I now finally have the title. So I'm going to be doing a trailer for the title reveal, along with projects to come, and take it along with the behind the scenes, the work that I do primarily alone, more time in my room. Sometimes I step out just for a change of scenery, and I feel like that will put a lot into perspective and really encourage others, probably like yourself, who are considering self-publishing, or you have already been on the self-publishing journey but you just need someone more to relate to and to resonate. Yeah. I am so looking forward to where we go from here. Until next time.